Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and today I'm working on a Husqvarna tractor. Thing's leaking oil and smoking all over the place. Here it is. As I said, it's a Husqvarna. I think it's a 42-inch deck, I believe. And it's got the Kohler engine, YTH20F42T. And we'll pop the hood. It's got the Courage 20, and they're pretty notorious for, well, not really being a good engine and also leaking oil. What we're going to have to do is pull the hood off this, and I'll show you where it's leaking. And all we have to do is unconnect that electrical cable, and the hood should pop right off. Well, here's a look at the valve cover, and you can see it's got oil all over it, caked up, but down underneath you can see it's dripping right on top of the muffler, and that's what's causing so much smoke. This is actually my buddy's tractor. He told me about the issue, and I told him to make sure he put oil in it, and he said he checked the oil and it was like completely empty. So if you're ever burning oil, even if you can't fix it right away, you got to keep adding oil because you're going to run out of oil. So these twin cams are notorious for leaking. There's like a cork gasket in here that fails. So the best thing to do is goop it up and use some high temp RTV sealant. So that's what I'll be doing today. We're going to start out by moving this plastic shroud. We have looks like 4 bolts up top, so I'm going to pull those and get that shroud off. So we popped the cover off there, and now we can take a look, and you can see this is all caked up, needs to be cleaned. I'm seeing some oil up here, and these engines are pretty prone to, they're like a reverse engine. This is actually your sump cover up top, and these bolts up here come loose. They rattle loose. I'm not sure what the deal is, but they'll come loose, and if you look, this one's loose. So this little job just became much bigger. There's oil going down there, and I bet you the valve cover's leaking too, so we're going to do that. And sometimes these, yeah, you see that? This thing, I don't know, I could try and Loctite those. Yeah, it's just one. Let me get a wrench. These bolts, that one was definitely loose. I mean, that one feels good. This one's a little loose. Yeah, the question is, do you take them out and Loctite them? I got to remove the flywheel to get these two. I'm probably going to have to pull this whole thing and get a gasket. I gave a little thought to it. It's winter time, and I have this mower. He doesn't need it to mow. He told me he really likes this tractor, so rather than just tighten these up and hope it holds, I'm thinking these bolts are going to loosen up. I'm going to go ahead, remove everything, pull the top off that sump, get the gasket, and we'll go through the valve covers. We'll adjust the valves and redo that gasket as well. So we're going to start out with these 10mm bolts. Well, here we go. We're going to start with the coil, and then we'll take the flywheel. So we'll get that out of the way. So we'll pull the flywheel. Okay, we're ready to pull the flywheel, and I don't have the right puller for this thing, and there's a couple things I want to do to make sure I don't break it. A couple little steps. Sometimes these little things can help you out. I'm using a little PV blaster up top. Look, just a little bit of penetrating oil. And another thing I'm doing is I have a little scrap piece of wood. I'm putting it on these fins. The fins are so thin on this head here that I just want to protect that. I want to take the magnet and turn that kind of out of the way so I'm away from that. And I'm using a pretty good sized crowbar. We're going to rest that you know, away from the magnet and on the board there. Now, because this opening's so wide, I don't want to damage those threads with my air hammer. So I'm using a 1/4 inch adapter, 3/8 to 1/4 inch. That'll fit right in there and protect it. You can use the bolt, but you got to be careful. You'd have to screw that in pretty far, and that puts pressure on the threads. So that's why I'm using this adapter. It's not going to hit the threads. The threads are down in there at least, looks like 1/2 inch, if not 5/8. And my tip will fit right in there. And I'm just going to lightly apply pressure and see if we can get this to loosen up. Nothing. I'm gonna spin this over. Try this side. Just being patient. There it goes. Yeah, you break that flywheel, it's going to cost you some bucks. So you really want to take your time, especially if you don't have the right tooling to remove it. It's a heavy sucker. Alright, and there is a little key in there. You want to get that out. That's going to be the hardest part of this whole job. Okay, so now what we have to do is, I guess we're going to have to remove the stator. And there's all these 10mm bolts going around. So we got to take all those off. We can remove this hose. This thing over here, this bracket, holds all the linkages and it has this elongated hole. You want to pay attention to that because that's how you set your governor speed. We want that back on the same way. And that's basically what we want to do. And look here, here's factory garbage. This wire sheath, you could see, you know, right out of the factory, it was bolted down, and this wire goes down to the regulator, it looks like. So, yeah, that, you know, they're lucky that he's lucky he didn't have a you know, a non-starting problem. So, all right, we're going to start removing some of this stuff. Got to remove the starter. Pulled out all those bolts. They're all the same size, so it really doesn't matter. You don't have to keep track of them. They've got these wire retainers on some of them, so I just marked, you know, which ones get the wire clip retainers. This one here is for the stator. I also marked here how the governor was lined up. I got everything loosened up. I'm just kind of going through and blowing off any debris, and I'll wipe it with the rag. This top seal was leaking a little bit, so that should always be replaced too when you do this. I'll put the part numbers down in the description if you're doing this job. There's a few things that you're gonna need. I think I have everything loose, or as loose as it needs to be. So I'm gonna try and gently see if this will loosen up. Just pulling up a little, tapping. Metal's pretty thin, so you gotta be careful. I'm gonna have to pull this dipstick here. Get that out of the way. Feels loose. You can see there's some dowels in here. This plastic air filter cover is kind of in the way, but I think I can work around it. It's now picking up. That's it. Okay, I removed the air filter cover thing here. I just got that out of the way because it was going to make it hard to scrape this thing, and also put the cover back on. They got this wire running through here. It goes down under the shroud. It comes up and ties into the fuel shut-off solenoid. So you can either unplug it down there and work it out. I'm actually going to just cut it. And then I'll re-splice it together. It's easier for me than snaking it all around. So we'll snip it here, and the coil you can unplug, and now you can work that cable through. Of course, this stupid thing. Come on. There you go. Now we're off. So now all I need to do is scrape off this gasket. Just being very careful not to drop anything in. And I'm using a window scraper, which really works well and doesn't really dig in at all to the aluminum. And we're just going to work our way around here. I think what I'm going to do is end the video right here, as this is a good spot for you guys to get to. And then you can go down in the description and you can find links to all the parts. I'll get the parts in and we'll show you how to put it back together. And I'm also going to fix the valve cover where that's leaking. And this tractor should be all right. I think I got to ask my buddy if he wants new tires on it, but I think it'll be all right for him. So I'm going to end it here. If you're not a subscriber, please think about subscribing and hit the notification bell. That'll guarantee you that every time I make a video, it'll send it to you, the newest stuff coming out. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.